Okay, thank you. So, it's a pretty tall order, I guess. I set myself up for a tough explanation after giving a talk with such outrageous statements. So that's okay, I was prepared for it, that's why I did it. So you all know my name is Randy Powell, and our project is called the Vortex-Based Mathematics Project. As with most things that are in this project, the name wasn't given by myself or by Marco Rodin, who was my teacher. The name Vortex, the truth is I don't even know who named it Vortex-Based Mathematics, but it was some engineer back there years ago who bestowed it with that name, and it just kind of stuck, so we call it VBM for short. And yeah, the claims that have been stated by myself and my teacher before me is a very tall order. I guess I'll just try to go through some of them. I don't have the paper that I had then, but I'll see what I can do from memory. We said inexhaustible energy. You could call it free energy. It's debatable with that term. Inexhaustible energy, we talked about curing all diseases, producing unlimited food, traveling throughout the universe. Basically, the ultimate of what we want to do with technology, at least what I would like to do with technology. Now, some other people want to create the ultimate weapon or this or that. Supercomputers is another one I think is good and beneficial if used in the right way. It's like the math, it's a tool. But how would we even go about approaching these kind of topics? Because the truth is, I did go to UVA years ago. I was studying religion at the time, which actually through studying the languages and religion, a gentleman here asked me earlier how I started with this, and that was really what got me started along the path of looking at this mathematics. And then remarkably, we found that the same patterns that are creating our languages are creating our physics. It's kind of like a Rosetta Stone or a universal blueprint that we see in all created things. So I'm not a physicist, and I'm not a chemist, and I'm not a doctor or any of those, so I won't be giving any medical advice tonight, just for the YouTube audience out there who might want to make a legal claim. I'm not giving anyone any medical advice. I will only just tell you about the truth and reality of what's happened. So I encountered this project some years ago, whatever year it was that YouTube came around, but it was right around the time whenever that, I don't know if anybody remembers that far back. But I caught a video from Marco Rodin. I should have a picture on here. Unfortunately, we had to do this. This is just something I had up on Google Docs. I don't have 100% of the images that I had on my other presentation, but I think it'll serve us well. So I don't have a picture of Marco, but you can all look him up. He's got a nice smiling face. And I encountered him on YouTube, and because of my background in studying the numerical patterns in language, and he was making a connection with that and work that he was doing in math and science, and I got interested in it. And the nutshell of my involvement in this is that, like I said in the TED Talk, after some years of working on it, I eventually was able to solve essentially what's this equation right here. I'll try to bring up another version with the numbers on it so it'll be a little clearer. And I figured out how to turn it into a 3D geometry. And by doing that, it answered a lot of questions, and it actually led to a whole new study of how to apply this to energy technology, which has turned out to bear a lot of good fruit. And so I never really expected to be up here on a stage talking to anybody. At the time, I called Marco up and shared with him what I was doing, and he was very skeptical and doubtful. Of course, because when you've been doing something like this for a long time, and as probably most of the professors here in various subjects know, there's always somebody calling you with a solution, and most of the time it doesn't really amount to anything. So he told me publish or perish, and that's how my YouTube videos ended up getting online sometime later with the help of some friends. And so I put those videos out there for people to peer review the very basics of the math that I was doing. And everyone who did peer review found out that I was correct in what I was saying. And so it just, it was one of those kind of discoveries where one thing, I always say you answer one question and you're asking a million more, but it was also a type of thing where one discovery answered a million questions. And so it really helped us to get a whole new insight into what we were doing and how to approach what originally was started as Marco's claims, that you could do things like tapping into a new energy source, which seems pretty incredible to start from something simple like a diagram like this and to come away with that. As I was telling Cameron earlier, it didn't just happen overnight. From the time that this symbol was discovered, when Marco was 16, he's 55 or 56 now, so like 40 years ago almost, until the time where anyone suggested that it might be a coil or an energy device was 23 years. So it took a lot of work to get to that place, but once the concept was brought forward, we really started taking it and moving with it. And then when I did the work, it really showed us a new way to build the coils. And now people have been posting that work up on YouTube, which is available, and hopefully we'll get into a little bit of that later. So let me just start by talking a little bit about this math and what it is, so we can get a little bit into the concept. I'm going to pull up this other image because I think it'll, at least you can see the numbers here. Everybody see that okay? Alright, so it's really, I don't know where everybody's coming from tonight, but I guess I'm just going to kind of give you the whole full story, because this topic is a challenging one to get up and give a talk about, not because I don't have enough to say, it's because there's so much to say, it's almost hard to decide what to say. And it does cross a lot of topics, most importantly for myself, are spiritual topics, because as we all know, we're only here for a short time. Secondary to that is the physics, the science, and what we can learn about this world. But the origin of this math really started from a spiritual search, and so I'll just tell you the story about it, as incredible as it may seem. But at least now we're at a place where the results are speaking for themselves. So Marco had this idea when he was younger that he wanted to know what was the secret of intelligence in the universe. So this is an important topic for us all. And he did a little thought experiment in his mind. It's a great story, so I love to tell it. It was his thought experiment involved at the time. I don't know what year this was. It was before I was here, but around 40 years ago. He had this thought experiment. He wanted to know, well, who was the smartest man on the planet? Now, hopefully no one will throw anything at me, but his idea at the time was that it must be Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger had to be the smartest man on the planet at the time. And so he put Henry Kissinger up against what he could think of as the smartest alien on another planet somewhere in the distant universe. And he did a little thought experiment where they were debating back and forth. And he said he was laying on the bed in his sister's room, and